The Internet of Blockchains. The dream of blockchain was simple: decentralization. A world where no single entity controls money, data, or applications. But as the industry grew, reality set in. Instead of one unified ecosystem, thousands of blockchains emerged, each with its own rules, consensus, and communities. The result, a fragmented landscape, assets locked on isolated chains, developers forced to choose one ecosystem over another, bridges built to connect them, but often fragile, costly, and prone to catastrophic failures. If Web3 is to succeed, this fragmentation must be solved. Enter Cosmos. Founded in 2016 by Kwon and Buchman, Cosmos was built on a radical idea. Instead of trying to make one blockchain rule them all, create an internet of blockchains, a system where sovereign blockchains could interoperate freely, transferring value and data as easily as sending an email. At the core of Cosmos is the Cosmos Hub, its first blockchain, and the IBC protocol, inter-blockchain communication. IBC is the standard that allows independent blockchains to talk to each other securely. With it, Cosmos doesn't just connect chains. It creates a web of interconnected blockchains, each specialized, each sovereign, yet all linked. Unlike Polkadot, which ties parachains to a central relay chain with shared security, Cosmos embraces sovereignty. Each chain in the Cosmos ecosystem, called a zone, runs its own governance, consensus, and validator set. They can innovate without asking permission, but through IBC they can still exchange token data. Part 1. The Birth of Cosmos. The vision for Cosmos begins with two men, Kwon and Buchman. In the early days of blockchain, Kwon saw a problem few others noticed. Bitcoin proved that decentralized money was possible. Ethereum proved that decentralized applications were possible, but neither solved the looming issue of scalability and interoperability. As more blockchains emerged, Jay realized they would be forced into silos, unable to interact or share value. So in 2014, Jay created Tendermint, a breakthrough consensus engine. Unlike proof of work, which required energy-intensive mining, Tendermint offered a fast, efficient, Byzantine fault-tolerant BFT consensus. It could finalize transactions in seconds, making it one of the first practical alternatives to proof of work. Tendermint became the foundation upon which Cosmos would later be built. Buchman, a Canadian blockchain researcher, shared the same vision. Together with Jay, he co-founded Cosmos and co-authored its white paper in 2016. Their mission was ambitious: to create an internet of blockchains. Instead of building one world computer like Ethereum, Cosmos would be a network of sovereign blockchains, each able to govern itself, but all connected through a shared communication standard. This was the origin of the Cosmos Hub, the first blockchain in the ecosystem, and its native token, Atom. The design centered around three core innovations. 1. Tendermint Core, the consensus engine providing fast, secure finality. 2. Cosmos SDK, a modular framework that allowed developers to build custom blockchains quickly. 3. IBC, inter-blockchain communication, the protocol that would allow independent chains to exchange data and assets seamlessly. With these tools, Cosmos positioned itself as the solution to blockchain fragmentation. It wasn't about creating one chain to dominate them all. It was about enabling thousands of chains to connect, scale, and cooperate. The early years weren't easy. Jay's brilliance was matched by his intensity, and internal conflicts within the Cosmos team would later test the project's resilience. But in those first years, the focus was on building, refining Tendermint, launching the Cosmos Hub, and laying the groundwork for IBC. In 2019, the Cosmos Hub launched, bringing Atom into circulation. It was the first step toward the Internet of Blockchains. Developers began experimenting with the SDK to launch their own chains, and momentum grew. But the true test, IBC, was still in the future. The birth of Cosmos wasn't just about launching another token. It was about introducing a philosophy: sovereignty plus interoperability. A belief that the blockchain future would not be monolithic but pluralistic. Many chains, many communities, each free to innovate, yet all able to connect. The next chapter would dive deeper into the technology of Cosmos, Tendermint, the SDK, and IBC, and explain why its design offers a radically different path from Ethereum, Polkadot, or any other competitor. Part 2. The technology of Cosmos. To understand what makes Cosmos unique, you have to look at its architecture. Where Ethereum dreamed of a single world computer and Polkadot built a relay chain to unify parachains, Cosmos took a different path. Its guiding principle is sovereignty with interoperability. At the core of this vision lies Tendermint Core. Tendermint is the consensus engine that powers Cosmos. Unlike proof of work, which consumes massive energy, Tendermint is based on Byzantine fault tolerance, BFT. It can achieve fast finality. Transactions are confirmed in seconds, not minutes. Validators take turns proposing and voting on blocks, and as long as 2/3 are honest, the network keeps running securely. This efficiency makes Tendermint one of the first practical consensus models for scalable blockchains. It also separates consensus from networking, meaning developers can plug Tendermint into their own blockchain applications without having to rebuild the core. Next comes the Cosmos SDK. The SDK is a modular framework that allows developers to build custom blockchains quickly. Instead of writing everything from scratch, they can pick modules, governance, staking, token transfers, accounts, and then customize them for their needs. This has made Cosmos a hotbed of innovation. From DeFi platforms to decentralized exchanges, projects can launch their own sovereign chains using the SDK, while still remaining part of the Cosmos ecosystem. But the true breakthrough is IBC, inter-blockchain communication. IBC is the protocol that lets independent blockchains talk to each other. Before IBC, chains were like islands. If you wanted to move assets between them, you needed centralized exchanges or risky bridges. With IBC, chains can establish secure channels to send tokens, messages, or data directly. An atom holder on the Cosmos Hub can send assets to another zone without relying on intermediaries. Together, Tendermint, the SDK, and IBC form the Cosmos Triad. Consensus: fast, secure, and energy efficient. Development: easy, modular blockchain building. Connectivity: seamless interoperability between sovereign chains. This design is radically different from other interoperability visions. Polkadot enforces shared security through the relay chain, making parachains dependent on the main network. Cosmos, by contrast, allows chains to govern themselves completely. Their own validators, their own rules. Shared security is optional, not enforced. Ethereum, meanwhile, continues to scale through Layer 2 rollups. But those solutions remain tied to Ethereum's base chain, not sovereign in the Cosmos sense. Cosmos's model of sovereignty has pros and cons. On the one hand, it maximizes flexibility. Developers can innovate without asking permission. Enterprises can customize chains for compliance. Communities can govern themselves. On the other hand, sovereignty means responsibility. Each chain must secure itself with its own validators, which can fragment security compared to Polkadot's shared trust model. Still, this architecture has proven compelling. Projects like Osmosis, a decentralized exchange, Secret Network, privacy-focused smart contracts, and Juno, community-governed DeFi, have launched within Cosmos, each leveraging the SDK and IBC while remaining fully sovereign. Cosmos doesn't just connect blockchains. It redefines what blockchains can be: independent yet cooperative, sovereign yet interoperable. A digital world less like an empire, and more like a federation of nations linked by trade routes. The next chapter explores how this vision has translated into real adoption, projects, and ecosystems, and how Cosmos has grown into one of the most diverse and active blockchain networks in the world. Part 3. Adoption and ecosystem growth. Technology alone doesn't make a blockchain successful. The real measure is adoption, the projects that choose to build on it, the communities that grow around it, and the ecosystems that thrive. For Cosmos, this is where its vision of sovereignty plus interoperability began to shine. The first wave of adoption came with projects using the Cosmos SDK to launch their own blockchains. Developers quickly realized they could build specialized chains instead of competing for block space on Ethereum. Each chain had full control over its governance, validator set, and upgrades, while still being able to connect to others through IBC. One of the most important Cosmos projects is Osmosis. Launched in 2021, Osmosis became the leading decentralized exchange DEX in the Cosmos ecosystem. Built as its own sovereign chain, it allows users to trade assets across Cosmos zones using IBC. Osmosis proved that Cosmos could sustain a DeFi hub without relying on Ethereum liquidity. Its rapid growth made it the beating heart of Cosmos DeFi, showing the power of sovereign but connected blockchains. Another early success was Terra. Before its infamous collapse in 2022, Terra was one of Cosmos's biggest stars. With its algorithmic stablecoin UST and growing DeFi ecosystem, Terra's rise showed how quickly Cosmos-based chains could scale, but its fall also tested the resilience of the ecosystem. Despite the implosion, Cosmos survived, proof of its decentralized structure. Where one chain failed, others endured. Then came Juno. Juno positioned itself as the smart contract platform of Cosmos, a chain governed by its community. With CosmWasm contracts, developers could deploy applications across the Cosmos network, expanding beyond simple token transfers. Juno represented the grassroots spirit of Cosmos, sovereign, community-led, and deeply experimental. Meanwhile, Secret Network pioneered privacy on Cosmos. By enabling encrypted smart contracts, it offered something Ethereum and Polkadot struggled with: confidentiality in decentralized applications. This opened doors for privacy-preserving DeFi, healthcare data management, and more. All of this was tied together by the Cosmos Hub. Launched as the first chain in the ecosystem, the Hub originally served as the central point of connectivity for IBC-enabled chains. Over time, its role has evolved. Instead of being the dominant center, the Hub is now one chain among many, but with Atom still playing a critical role in governance, staking, and security proposals for the ecosystem. The turning point for Cosmos adoption was the launch of IBC in 2021. Suddenly, the vision of interoperable sovereign chains became reality. Tokens could flow seamlessly between Osmosis, Juno, Secret, and dozens of other zones. Bridges weren't needed. The Cosmos ecosystem began to feel like a true internet of blockchains, dynamic, interconnected, and growing rapidly. By 2023, Cosmos counted over 50 IBC-enabled chains, with daily transaction volumes rivaling Ethereum Layer 2s. New projects like Evmos, an Ethereum-compatible chain, and dYdX, a major Ethereum DEX migrating to Cosmos, further cemented its reputation as a serious ecosystem. Cosmos's growth revealed both its strengths and its challenges. Its diversity created resilience. The collapse of Terra hurt, but didn't destroy the ecosystem. Its sovereignty encouraged innovation, but sometimes at the cost of fragmentation, as chains competed for liquidity and users. Its interoperability made it powerful, but also raised questions about governance and how much influence the Cosmos Hub should hold. Still, adoption proved the model worked. Cosmos wasn't just a vision anymore. It was a living, breathing ecosystem, with real projects, real communities, and real value moving across its networks. The next chapter explores the interoperability race itself. Cosmos versus Polkadot versus Ethereum Layer 2s, and what role Cosmos might play in the future of Web3. Part 4. Interoperability and the race for Web3. From the very beginning, Cosmos defined itself by one mission: to solve blockchain fragmentation. Its answer was sovereignty plus interoperability, sovereign chains communicating through IBC. But Cosmos isn't alone in this race. Polkadot, Ethereum's Layer 2s, and even projects like Quant all offer competing visions of how Web3 might connect. Polkadot's vision is shared security. All parachains plug into the relay chain, inheriting its validator set and consensus. This ensures strong security guarantees, but parachains sacrifice some independence. They must compete for limited slots and adapt to the relay chain's rules. Cosmos takes the opposite stance: full sovereignty. Each zone chooses its own validators, rules, and governance. Security is local, but connectivity comes through IBC. It's freedom first, at the cost of uniform protection. Ethereum's approach is different still. Its scaling plan focuses on Layer 2 rollups. Networks like Arbitrum, Optimism, and zk-Sync process transactions off-chain, then post proofs to Ethereum for security. This keeps Ethereum as the settlement layer while enabling higher throughput. Rollups are interoperable within the Ethereum ecosystem, but they don't yet provide the same kind of cross-chain sovereignty that Cosmos envisions. Then there's Quant, which doesn't compete at the protocol level at all. Quant positions itself as an operating system for blockchains, connecting existing networks, public and private, without forcing them into one architecture. Where Cosmos builds sovereign chains with native interoperability, Quant acts as middleware bridging already existing chains. The differences highlight a bigger truth. There is no single path to interoperability. Each project makes trade-offs. Polkadot bets on unity through shared security. Ethereum bets on dominance through Layer 2 scaling, Quant bets on neutrality, Cosmos bets on sovereignty, an internet of blockchains resembling a federation of independent states linked by trade routes. Cosmos's sovereignty model has proven attractive to innovators. Developers who want full control over their chain, whether it's DeFi, gaming, or privacy, flock to the Cosmos SDK. Enterprises exploring blockchain prefer the flexibility of tailoring their own rules without being bound to a central relay chain. Even Ethereum-native projects like dYdX have chosen to migrate to Cosmos, citing its freedom and scalability. But sovereignty also raises challenges. Independent chains must bootstrap their own security, which can leave smaller zones vulnerable. Liquidity can fragment as tokens spread across multiple chains, and governance can become messy, with no single authority to coordinate upgrades across the network. The race for Web3 isn't about which project is technically superior. It's about which vision developers, enterprises, and users choose to adopt. Do they want the safety of shared security, the dominance of Ethereum, the neutrality of middleware, or the freedom of sovereignty? Cosmos believes the future will demand sovereignty. Just as nations value independence while still trading globally, blockchains will want to govern themselves while remaining connected. In that vision, Cosmos isn't just another competitor. It's the blueprint for a decentralized internet where no single chain holds power over the rest. The final chapter looks forward. The risks, opportunities, and speculative arc of Cosmos as the internet of blockchains, and whether sovereignty plus interoperability can scale into the backbone of Web3. Part 5. The Future of Cosmos. The story of Cosmos is still being written, but its philosophy has already reshaped the blockchain world. While others chase dominance or shared security, Cosmos doubled down on sovereignty, a belief that the future of Web3 will be plural, not singular. Independent chains, self-governing communities, yet all linked through a common standard of communication. The opportunity ahead is massive. Tokenization is expanding beyond DeFi. Enterprises want customizable infrastructure. Developers crave flexibility without the bottlenecks of Ethereum. Cosmos offers them all a path. Build your own blockchain, govern it how you want, and still connect to a global network of chains through IBC. The arrival of projects like dYdX migrating from Ethereum to Cosmos shows the appeal. When one of DeFi's largest exchanges chooses sovereignty, it signals confidence in Cosmos's model. Cosmos also sits at the center of the interoperability race. Ethereum's rollups may dominate liquidity, but they lack sovereignty. Polkadot offers shared security, but parachains must compromise independence. Quant connects existing networks, but as middleware, it depends on others' infrastructure. Cosmos, meanwhile, provides both independence and connectivity, a balance that could make it the backbone of a decentralized internet. Yet risks loom. Sovereignty comes with trade-offs. Each chain must secure itself, and not all can attract enough validators or users to stay safe. Liquidity can scatter, weakening the ecosystem's overall strength. Governance disputes have already shaken Cosmos, from Kwon's controversial leadership exits to debates over Atom's role in securing the broader network. Fragmentation is freedom, but also vulnerability. Competition is relentless. Ethereum continues to evolve, with rollups expanding faster than ever. Polkadot offers a cleaner story for enterprises who prefer shared protection. Terra and Algorand appeal to governments and institutions with strong compliance narratives. Cosmos must prove that sovereignty isn't just philosophy. It's practical, scalable, and sustainable. The speculative arc is bold. Imagine hundreds, even thousands of sovereign blockchains running on Cosmos SDK, all connected by IBC. DeFi on one chain, gaming on another, supply chains on a third, each optimized for its use case, but all interoperable. Imagine enterprises and nations building sovereign blockchains for finance, healthcare, and identity, all able to communicate without sacrificing control. In that world, Cosmos doesn't just survive. It thrives as the internet of blockchains, the federation of digital nations that powers Web3. But failure is possible. If security gaps widen, if liquidity dries up, or if governance fractures beyond repair, Cosmos risks becoming a collection of disconnected islands rather than an internet of blockchains. For now, Cosmos stands at a crossroads. Its technology works, its ecosystem is alive. Its philosophy resonates with builders who want freedom. Whether that freedom scales into dominance and/or dissolves into fragmentation will determine Cosmos's place in history. One truth remains: the future of blockchain will be multi-chain, and Cosmos is betting it will be sovereign. The Internet of Blockchains. Most blockchains dream of dominance. Cosmos dreams of freedom. A world where blockchains are sovereign, each governing itself, each free to innovate, yet all connected through IBC. An internet of blockchains not ruled by one but united by many. Cosmos is more than technology, it's a philosophy. A belief that the future of Web3 will be plural, decentralized, and resilient. That no single chain should own the internet of value. It should belong to all. Here at LTL Productions, we uncover the untold stories of crypto, the projects building the rails of tomorrow while the world chases the noise of today. Subscribe now to LTL Productions. Share this video with someone who thinks blockchains must compete instead of connect. And join us as we continue mapping the networks that could reshape global finance. This is LTL Productions, and Cosmos may just be the internet of blockchains.